there's a message coming through about sovereignty and how sovereignty isn't a choice between the head and the heart. It's really about this integration between the two. And we are here to anchor in what they call a divine design, our divine design, our blueprint. And we are already existing as this version of ourselves in the spacious present of all that is. And we, as the kind of images of the divine, really, because we have that cognitive factor and we have the heart. We have big emotional hearts as humans. Some of us lean a little bit more towards the head side of the equation, and some of us move more towards the heart side. And some of us have healing to do on both sides. But eventually, once we bring those together, they're saying that is when we are truly in a flow and we truly start moving into the highest versions of our destiny. I'm hearing that the two qualities that can be best used to describe source and divinity is infinitely intelligent and unconditionally loving. So these are the two main qualities that make up source and all that is. Seth from the Seth material goes into this about how the boundaries of dimensions, so to speak, of our ideas that have been constructed and manifested. So this particular earth-like experience, the boundaries of everything are by agreements based on reason and intelligence. But the substance of that which fills all dimensions, so to speak, is emotion, and it's all based on love. Okay, at the intrinsic level, we are kind of in an overlay that is very veiled, and it's a very particular kind of experience. And so we're not able to, on the human level, actually perceive these qualities within the prana, which is what source is. All this prana that has been manifested, prana is like an Eastern term, in case that's new for some of you, or we could call it chi or energy. This is really a substance, and they're saying the substance of all that is so loving. And I once had a very probably one of the most impressive mystical experiences of my life, where I did experience becoming source energy and becoming the planet, and I became all things all at once, and I was like the current. It was so wild. The whole thing was so wild. This experience showed me divinity, and I experienced Gaia and her divinity. Anyway, the experience I had was, it was insanely, infinitely intelligent, and divinity was like unconditionally loving. Honestly, it felt like echoes of self, but in the most loving form, and all of it was just reverberating upon itself. It was absolutely incredible. But Spirit's saying the experience down here is the sovereignty game, this autonomy. They like to say flexible sovereignty is really about this balancing of the head and the heart. The heart is like the inner child, the one that feels the desires. And the heart energy, or the part of ourself that is really represented by the heart, wants to just be loved and enjoyed and enjoying and pleasuring and all that delights the self, okay? This is kind of like the energy of the heart. And even giving pleasure to others and joy to others is also, that kind of extension is also something that the heart loves. It's like a puppy dog, right? This puppy dog energy, or just kind of like any young creature that's just like full of joy and very loving. And then wisdom is the reason, it's the discernment, it's the part that says, hey, if we really want to do the most that we can here and bring the most joy that we can, we really need to measure ourselves, right? We can't overextend ourselves. So it's like, it's what kind of keeps the heart in check so that it doesn't go overboard. And the heart keeps the intelligence, the wisdom, loving and gentle. This is really like the energy that is really intrinsic to all of us, but we're here in very challenging, sometimes, conditions to move through this reality. They're saying it's like a forge, and choice by choice, when we are following our heart and we are tempering our heart with the wisdom, they're saying this is how we can move along the trajectory towards rendezvousing with our destiny most easily and really getting the most out of the experience. It's really what we're here for, is for the wonderful experience and this kind of refinement. They're saying the heart is kind of like sees close, sees near, and wisdom sees far. Eventually, what we're going for is a wise heart and a loving, gentle wisdom. This is really what eventually we show up as. in our practical life. And what I really like about this is because it really honors the different natures that we have. You know, there are people who are more empathic and more heart-based, but we're here to kind of hone our wisdom. And then there's people who are definitely very reason-oriented and quite heady and cerebral. Actually, those are two separate things. I'm quite heady and cerebral, but I'm very, very empathic. But there are those of us who are like somebody like a Kissinger type of personality is coming to mind. You know, he's the one who said, if push comes to shove, order over justice. Okay, so this is like kind of very, very hard reasoning, not very heart-based wisdom in my humble opinion. So the point is to become a loving, wise perspective. Of course, we're all, a child is a beautiful image of the divine. They're saying the goal is we come to a mastery program like Earth to become the wise child or the loving intelligence. And they're showing me, isn't it adorable when you see little children? They're so sweet. They don't have their reasoning in place yet. But then when you see an elder, like a very, very wise elder who's completely coherent and healthy, we often will see how much levity they have. There's gravity and then there's levity all at the same time. And what I'm hearing is this is loving intelligence. This is a wise heart. And this is the integration that we are all here after. We are also integrating all along the way. We're doing our shadow work, which is really paying attention to the not so happy parts of our heart that have been hurting. We bring in our wisest self, which I'm hearing is bringing in our highest self. And when we do that, then we start doing this shadow integration where we're loving those shadow parts and we start to re-educate our heart and all the parts of ourselves that have been hurting or that have been suppressed or repressed for whatever the reasons. And we start slowly dropping these coping strategies and all of this conditioning that we picked up as humans. And Spirit's saying that when we choose our way through, sometimes against the grain, against the conditioning, and we start thinking for ourselves, we bring in our higher intelligence, we start being present in the room with our heart, we are paying attention to our heart, we're not just using maladaptive coping strategies and running around the issue or suppressing things. When we start to do this kind of integration, they're saying this is the point. Because once we master a certain level of autonomy here, we graduate as creators, and from this perspective, we can go play in non-physical arenas that are really quite fulfilling and a lot more flowy than an experience like we would have in a construct reality where there's a lot of limitation to move through. And our heart isn't just desires, it's also our intuition. So the more we start healing our heart and the more wise our heart becomes and the more loving our intelligence becomes, they're saying this is anchoring in our divine design. What else? Oh, they have some beautiful expressions. They say the heart sees near and wisdom sees far. Eventually, when they work as one, they can see the whole field all together. And now they're showing me a beautiful field, and they're saying, as you move through, let there not be any ideas, resistance really, between you and the essence of what you desire, which is on this horizon they're showing me. They're saying, use your heart to lead you forward and use your wisdom to keep you on track and rewriting any conditioning. They're saying, like, we're not here to be on autopilot. And the only way to not be on autopilot is actually to be present at all times, totally lucid during your experience. Kind of like, it would be like asking us to become lucid in our dreams. And it's about moving forward with a good attitude towards whatever it is that your heart desires, using your sense, but do not move out of fear. False evidence appearing as real. Do not move out of limitation. When you hit limitation or any ideas between you and the essence of what you want, so they're showing me that open field, when you see anything in the way of that, or you are triggered by something, it's a very good time to look at, why do I feel the way I feel about this? And to make sure that we dismantle any ideas that are limiting our head or our heart. Of course, we have to use our discernment, so, which is our wisdom. And it's designed to have us moving through the forge. This is about moving through the forge. They're showing me like a sword. They're saying, like, you come out completely refined. You as a perspective, your I am is very refined. Your ability to focus where it behooves you is, it's like they're saying this is such an accelerated program. It's very challenging to be here. It can take lifetimes to break through to this level of message that we're having here now. But they're saying this is the time of ascension. Many, many of us came to have this experience, and this is the way to do it. That's basically what they're saying. Is there anything else you guys want to say? We want to temper our heart. We don't want to like just run off. It's kind of like, let's say I get really into like a new show. Actually, I just ended up binging, it's the new George Martin thing on HBO. Oh, The Hedge Knight. I just ended up watching The Hedge Knight all the way through. Thank gosh it's only like one season. It's like one season, 6 episodes, and I don't think they're very long. And but imagine if it was like 5 seasons. So wisdom says, hey, you need to go to bed. You got stuff to do tomorrow. You can't watch that much. That's not healthy. That's not, you know, you've got things to do. You've got things you've got to show up for. And on the other hand, we can't go all crazy with wisdom, because if we just keep doing things from the head, the heart's going to be really unhappy. So this balance is in almost every part of our lives, the way we prioritize, the way we flow through our lives. They're saying it's always about honoring this. With almost everything that we do in every action, there is this balance of the head and the heart, of the wisdom and the love, passion, desire, intuition of the heart. That's the message for today. If you enjoyed this message, please share your beautiful energy, like, subscribe, share, and comment, all the things. And if you're interested in coaching, readings, or visionary art, you'll find that information in the description box. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next message.